Welcome back. We're joined by our political insiders, Megan Robertson, a Republican, Kip Tu, a Democrat, and WIBC's Eric Berman. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here.
On the
current status of the City County Council, who has more to lose, Republicans or Democrats?
Well, so the Democrats have more to lose because they're the ones who have the majority. But the way this is playing out, the Republicans have sort of faded into the background since the whole power sharing deal. This is an internecine fight within the Democratic caucus, and it'll probably get worked out in 3 weeks, but it's not a good look at the moment.
I would say the losers are the citizens of the city of Indianapolis. I don't think we look good to the outside world at the moment. I don't think that we've seen the necessary leadership that we need to see so that we can present a unified front to the rest of the world and the rest of the country when we're looking for Amazon and other people to make investments in our city. I think people need to put their weapons at the door and get in a room and get this figured out and stop this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Obviously, the citizens of Indianapolis who are, just trying to have government that gets things done are the big losers here. But when you look at the Democrats too, I think it's problematic. It's inter-party squabbles that are going to feed out into primary elections next year. I think you ought to be expecting to see that, and I think it's not good for Joe Hogsett. He's trying to run a city, and stepping in here probably would have been a good thing to do before we reach this point of just complete other chaos.
I mean, it has to be said, because she made that criticism, that Republicans haven't actually shown to be very good leaders in this as well. They on one day they say they don't want this one person to be in their caucus for a reason that's similar, and then they cast their lot with another person. So they don't seem to be showing much leadership as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think there's some things that should have been handled differently. The Republicans had some genuine beefs with the council leadership, but could have been handled better. And again, unfortunately, we don't have a Republican mayor, so some of the blame is going to have to land at the steps of Mayor Joe Hogsett. It's his city, his party in charge.
You touched on Amazon. A lot of people speculating as to what this company might be looking at when it considers Indianapolis and 19 other cities for the second headquarters. Hate crimes. We saw that bill die in committee, did not get called for a vote. Could that impact our bid? Do you think that's something they're realistically watching?
It not only died in committee, Democrats on the House side tried to resurrect it as an amendment, and the Speaker of the House also shot it down on procedural grounds. So we've had both the Senate and the House deal with it at some level, and it does not pass forward. Republicans have a fundamental problem with respect to this bill, and that's where the problem lies. They can't reach consensus, and if they put it on the floor, I believe it would have enough votes in both caucuses for it to pass, but they refused. They're adopting the Hastert rule, I think, which I think is a bad rule for democracy. Put it out on the floor. If there's a majority of people that support it, let's get it passed.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bigger thing that could have gone wrong was putting the bill forward and removing something like gender identity, which would then kind of lead us back into the mess of RFRA again. So, I mean, I do think Governor Holcomb, it was said that he had conversations saying, look, either pass this the way it is with gender identity or don't do anything, because it's going to bring some negative attention to us if we do that, which I agree is the better step. But what would have been the best thing to do would be to be able to push this forward. It's not about one bill. It's not about hate crimes. It's not about a singular issue. It's about showing that we're a state that wants to be forward thinking on some of these issues when we're trying to be, the tech hub of the Midwest. If we want to do that, we're going to have to take some steps forwards on these issues.
I think at least one of two things is true. Either there was no way to get the votes. David Long said it wasn't just a majority of the caucus, it was a majority of the Senate. At least 26 out of those 41 Republican senators were against it. So either there was no way to change minds, or Governor Holcomb made a calculation of, we're okay. We've got existing case law. Amazon is not going to make this a deal breaker. I assume that if there was a sense it would be a deal breaker, he would have been lobbying like crazy, unless he had tried that and really couldn't get it down below 26.
Well, I don't know if I give him that much credit. I think that, there's an element in his party that pushes on these issues the very wrong way, and that gives the entire state a black mark, and I think that's part of the politics he's calculating. And I'm not sure that his first thought is what's in the best economic interest of the state.
Well, I think that's an unfair thing to say, that he's not focused on the economic interests of the state.
No, I didn't say. I said it wasn't number one.
Well, I would say that the governor of the state of Indiana, it's a fair thing to assume that his first thought is what is in the best interest of Hoosiers. I think that's an unfair accusation to make.
My point was that his first priority is getting himself reelected and trying to deal with the very fissures that are in the Republican Party at this time, and I think that that's unfortunately where he is.
We have 60 seconds left. Potholes, are they political? We've seen Republicans come out swinging against DPW's director, against the mayor. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's an opportunity. I mean, when you're in politics and if you're the opposition party, something like that comes up that's a fail, you jump on it. I grew up in Northwest Indiana. I remember the mayor of Chicago losing his job in a primary because they didn't get the snowplows out on time the month before. So, yeah, it can certainly be political. Our election's a year away, so we'll see how much lasting impact it has.
Well, I think we've had some unprecedented weather when it comes to temperature changes, which has caused probably the lion's share of this problem. The mayor's office deployed the hot asphalt, if you will, asked them to kick up earlier than it's ever been kicked up before. They're trying to do as much as they can to deal with this. If we had, fewer people who are climate deniers and would understand these things, maybe we'd be in better shape.
Megan, last word, 10 seconds.
Potholes to climate change. Of course, potholes are political. It's important to voters. And to say that, they try to say that this is the first time they've ever opened the plants this early. Ballard's done it early, several times before. So it's a lot of show. Not a lot of getting things done. Just fill the potholes.
I think they are.
We have to keep it at that. We'll continue.